For many years, I was deeply involved in African spiritual practices. I witnessed things that few would dare to believe. To most people, dreams are just random images, a product of the mind, but in reality, they are gateways to the spiritual world. Nothing that happens while you sleep is by chance, and if you wake up with no memory of your dreams, something is definitely wrong. Have you ever felt like something important was taken from you during the night? Like a part of you went through something significant, but the moment you woke up, that memory vanished? That's not just a memory lapse, it's a spiritual attack. But before we continue, I want to take a moment to ask you to join this community. If you're watching this, it means you're searching for answers. And that's exactly why I want you to subscribe now. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you never miss any of the powerful truths we share here. Also, hit that like button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. I love hearing from people all over the world. You may not see it, but there is an invisible war happening while you sleep. You wake up feeling drained for no reason, experiencing strange and confusing dreams that seem manipulated, or you have the sense that something was shown to you, but you can't remember it. These are signs of a spiritual battle taking place while you're unconscious. When I was involved in these practices, I took part in rituals designed to invade people's dreams. I know firsthand how spirits can be sent to distort, confuse, and even steal divine revelations. But now, free through the power of Jesus Christ, I'm here to reveal what truly happens while you sleep. If you can't remember your dreams, it's a sign that someone is hiding something from you. Today, that truth will be uncovered. From a young age, I knew my life was going to be different. My grandfather, a man with a commanding presence and piercing eyes, was a spiritual leader in our community. He wore sacred beaded necklaces that hung across his chest, and his voice, deep and weathered from years of chanting, resonated through the ceremonies, flickering in the light of the torches. In my family, there was no question of choice. I grew up surrounded by rituals that began at sundown, when the sounds of ancestral drums filled the village and the air was thick with the scent of burning offering. The nights felt endless, with candles flickering, casting shadows that seemed alive. I watched men and women enter trances, surrendering their bodies to unseen forces, while my young mind tried to comprehend what was unfolding around me. Before I even knew how to read or write, I had already learned how to open spiritual portals. I learned that dreams were secret pathways, hidden doors that could be accessed and manipulated. The early hours of the morning were considered sacred, as the elders taught me how to summon entities to enter people's dreams. I still remember the first time I did it. My body lay still on the temple floor, but my consciousness drifted into a thick darkness, only to be pulled into a dream of a man I had never met. It felt like stepping into another dimension, a world where the laws of physics didn't apply, where I could implant or erase memories without the person ever knowing. Unlike what many people think, dreams aren't just random mental projections. They're realms of their own, with everything happening within them, having a purpose in the spiritual world. A silent battle takes place in every dream, whether you're aware of it or not. And if you don't understand what's going on, you could be under attack without even realizing it. I learned how to enter people's dreams, alter their visions, and implant images that would later affect their waking lives. The ancient masters taught me that whoever controls dreams controls destiny. What you see in your dreams could be a message from God, but it could also be a trap set by forces that want to destroy you. When I was deeply involved in spiritual practices, I learned something that few understand. Dreams are not just illusions of the mind. What happens in them can shape your reality for years to come. I witnessed people receiving warnings about looming disasters, finding answers to their deepest struggles, and even uncovering hidden truths about their lives, all through their dreams. But I also saw how those revelations were stolen, manipulated, and erased before they could be understood. The spiritual world is far more real than most people realize, and dreams are one of the most direct forms of communication between the unseen and the visible. God has always communicated through dreams. It happened with Joseph in Egypt, when a dream revealed the coming years of famine. It happened with Daniel, who received visions of empires that had yet to rise. Even Joseph, the husband of Mary, learned in a dream that he needed to flee with his family to protect the baby Jesus. If God has used dreams to guide, warn, and protect throughout history, then why do so many struggle to remember them today? Why do so many people wake up with the feeling that something was shown to them, only for that memory to vanish as soon as they open their eyes? This isn't by chance, it's a spiritual attack. I know because during my time in spiritual practices, we had specific rituals designed to erase dreams. If we wanted to stop someone from receiving a divine revelation, we would cast spells to make them forget their dreams the moment they woke up. If someone was about to discover a truth about their life, a warning from God, or a message about their future, we could make that memory vanish entirely. Don't think this is something from the past. This is still happening today. The enemy is actively working to block this channel of communication, keeping those who were meant to see spiritually blind. If you've ever felt like you had an important dream but couldn't remember it, this is not just a memory problem. If your dreams often seem confusing, distorted, or completely erased upon waking, a spiritual battle is taking place while you sleep. The reason is simple. If you don't remember your dream, you can't act on it. If a dream carries a warning but is erased, you could be caught unprepared when danger strikes. If a dream contains an answer but is stolen, you might remain stuck in a problem that already had a solution. This is one of the oldest strategies used by the enemy, stealing a vision before it can turn into understanding. Dreams are windows into the spiritual world, and through them God reveals warnings, guidance, and even hidden mysteries. But if dreams are so important, why do so many wake up without remembering anything? Why does everything fade the moment they open their eyes, as if it never existed? What most people don't realize is that a war is taking place during the night. The enemy knows that if you gain access to what God wants to show you, your life could change dramatically, so he cannot allow you to remember. Forgetting an important dream is not a coincidence, it's an attack. One of the most subtle yet powerful strategies used by the forces of darkness is the manipulation of dream memory. This can happen in various ways, but the goal is always the same: to block the message before you can understand it. Mental exhaustion is one of the enemy's greatest weapons. Have you ever noticed that on the days you need answers the most, you wake up feeling more drained than usual? That's no coincidence. Right before you fall asleep, your mind is bombarded with distractions, news, social media, daily worries, all of which overload your brain and weaken your ability to remember your dreams. But the attack isn't just physical. There are spirits whose sole purpose is to erase divine revelations. In my time practicing spiritual rituals, we summoned these spirits to ensure certain individuals would never remember their dreams. I saw this happen firsthand. People who were meant to receive warnings or messages from God had their minds invaded, and by the time they woke up, it was as if nothing had happened. This attack happens the moment you wake up. The second your eyes open, a spirit works to scatter your thoughts, flooding your mind with random ideas and sensations to shift your focus. It's like something pushes the memory of your dream into a dark corner of your mind where you can never retrieve it. The result: you lose messages that could change your destiny. The worst part is that over time, you begin to believe that you simply don't dream anymore. But that's a lie. You do dream. You receive messages. The problem is, someone is stealing them from you. As long as this influence remains active, you'll stay blind to the things God is already trying to reveal to you. But there is a way to fight back, and I'm going to show you how. Not all dreams are the same. Each one carries a specific purpose, a hidden message that can transform the life of the person who receives it, if they know how to interpret it. When I was involved in spiritual practices, I learned to distinguish between different types of dreams and how they could be used both to reveal the truth and to trap a person in deception. Prophetic dreams are the most powerful. They aren't just visions of the future. They are direct warnings from God. The Bible is full of examples. Joseph in Egypt interpreted Pharaoh's dreams and saved an entire nation from famine. Daniel received dreams that revealed the rise and fall of empires. Even today, God continues to speak this way. But here's the danger. The enemy knows this too. That's why he works so hard to distort or erase these dreams before you can understand them. Then there are spiritual attack dreams. Unlike prophetic dreams, these do not come from God. They are infiltrations by the enemy. Have you ever heard of people dreaming that they are being chased or waking up in the middle of the night unable to move, feeling a dark presence in the room? I know exactly what's behind this. For years, I participated in rituals where we sent spiritual attacks into the dreams of others. Once fear took hold, it began to manifest in real life. Unexplainable problems, sudden illnesses, repeated failures. This happens because in the spiritual world, what you accept in a dream can begin to materialize in your waking life. Lastly, there are instructional dreams. These are like letters sent directly by God to guide the dreamer. You may be searching for an answer or asking for direction on an important decision, and then a dream comes, bringing the clarity you need. This is what happened to Joseph when God instructed him in a dream to flee with Mary and Jesus to escape Herod's wrath. But once again, the enemy doesn't want you to have access to this kind of knowledge. If he can prevent you from remembering what was revealed, he steals the instruction that could have led you in the right direction. Each of these dreams plays a crucial role in your spiritual journey, but if you don't know how to recognize them, you could end up falling into traps and ignoring messages that were sent directly to you. So now I need to ask you, how many dreams have you had but didn't know how to interpret? How many warnings have you missed? What happens in your dream world is not a coincidence. And if you don't learn to discern what's happening there, you could be opening doors to forces that want to blind you. Dreams are messages, directions, and warnings. They have the power to open pathways, prepare your spirit for what's to come, and in some cases, determine your destiny. If someone wants to know their purpose, they must pay attention to the dreams they receive. This is nothing new. Since ancient times, God has used dreams to reveal the destiny of those he has chosen. It was the case with Joseph in Egypt. Joseph dreamed that one day he would rule over his brothers, but when he shared his vision, he was betrayed, sold as a slave, and thrown into prison. To many, it seemed like he was getting further and further from his calling, but the truth was the opposite. His dreams were being fulfilled all along. Every event in his life was preparing him to become the governor of Egypt. And when the time came, it was through the interpretation of dreams that he was taken out of prison and placed before Pharaoh. Joseph's story reminds me of a dream I had before my conversion. A dream that showed me that the path I was on was leading me to a point of no return. That night, I saw before me a massive black gate, towering and made of solid iron. The ground beneath me was cracked, as though it were about to collapse. I knew I couldn't turn back, but as I stood in front of the gate, a faceless voice spoke to me. If you cross this door, you will never return. I woke up with my heart racing. I had visited many spiritual realms before, but this dream was different. It was a warning. At first, I ignored it, continuing my life as if nothing had happened. But that dream wouldn't leave me. In every ritual, every invocation, that voice kept echoing in my mind. When I finally understood what it meant, it was almost too late. I was on the brink of destruction, but God's mercy gave me a second chance. Dreams are more than just images in the mind. They are spiritual secrets. Each dream carries something unique, something that belongs to you. Often, these messages are not meant to be shared with just anyone. One of the biggest traps people fall into is telling their dreams to others. Many don't realize that by doing so, they're opening doors for their destiny to be sabotaged. The Bible gives us a clear example of this in the story of Joseph and his brothers. God gave Joseph dreams that revealed his future greatness. He saw that one day he would be placed in a position of authority, but Joseph's mistake was sharing his dreams with the wrong people. His own brothers hated him for it, conspired against him, and sold him into slavery, trying to erase his destiny completely. What Joseph didn't know at the time was that there's a spiritual principle about dreams. What God gives you can awaken jealousy and rage in those who don't understand what He is building in your life. I've seen this happen countless times. When I was involved in spiritual practices, it was common to perform rituals to block a person's future the moment they spoke about a prophetic dream they had received. If someone dreamed of a great opportunity or something that pointed to their growth, all it took was for them to tell the wrong person. And from that moment on, spiritual forces were activated to prevent that dream from becoming a reality. Dreams are spiritual gateways. When you share them without discernment, you invite others into what God is constructing inside of you, and not everyone who hears your dream wants to see it come true. Some people will laugh at you, try to discourage you, and tell you it was just your imagination. Others, driven by envy, will attempt to close the doors that God has already started to open for you. And the most dangerous ones, those who will try to manipulate your dreams, making you believe something that doesn't come from God. During the years I practiced spiritual rituals, I learned that not every dream comes from God. There are forces operating in the spiritual realm with one goal in mind: to distort, deceive, and confuse. Have you ever heard of people having dreams that felt incredibly real, only to later discover that none of it was from God? Dreams where they received messages that led them to make bad decisions, or where they thought they had received divine revelations, but in the end, it only brought confusion. This is no coincidence. The enemy knows that God speaks to people through dreams, so he tries to imitate it. He creates false dreams, mixing half-truths into them, leading people to make the wrong choices, follow distorted paths, or waste time on things that God never spoke about. I've seen this happen many times. I participated in rituals where we sent dreams to specific people, dreams that seemed divine but had a hidden agenda. The person would wake up believing they had received a vision, but in reality, that dream was planted to lead them astray. This kind of attack often happens to those who are spiritually unprotected. If you don't pray before sleeping, if you don't cover your dreams with God's protection, if you don't seek discernment, you can easily be deceived. But how do you know when a dream is not from God? Dreams from God bring clarity and purpose. Even when they serve as warnings, they carry peace, direction, and wisdom. On the other hand, dreams manipulated by the enemy create confusion, fear, and doubt. They make you feel lost, unsure of what to do, and often lead to impulsive decisions. If a dream leaves you unsettled, if you wake up with a strange heaviness, or if it pushes you toward a questionable path, question its origin. Not every vision is a revelation. Some are traps. The world of dreams is a battlefield. If you don't learn to discern what is from God and what is spiritual manipulation, you could end up following directions that were never meant for you. Now think about it. How many times have you had dreams that left you confused? How many times have you felt something was wrong but didn't know what to do? Few people truly understand the power of dreams. They are not just internal experiences of the mind, they are portals. When we sleep, our bodies rest, but our souls remain active. This is the moment when the spiritual world becomes accessible, whether it's for divine revelations or attacks from the enemy. I know this because I experienced it for years before my conversion. When I was still involved in spiritual practices, I learned to use dreams as gateways to other dimensions. In the early hours of the morning, through secret rituals, my consciousness would be taken to places where time and space didn't exist in the same way. I could enter other people's dreams, influence them, plant ideas, erase memories, and even instill fear and torment. I saw things that few would believe. I witnessed people being deceived in their own dreams, unknowingly accepting covenants, being seduced into opening spiritual doors they could never close on their own. I saw how a single dream could alter the course of someone's life entirely. The most dangerous part is that most people don't even realize what's happening. If you've ever had dreams where you received mysterious objects, whether jewelry, clothing, or books, know that this could be a spiritual seal. Depending on the source of that gift, you could be unknowingly accepting a covenant with hidden forces. If you've ever dreamed of eating or drinking something, understand that in the spiritual world, this is a serious ritual. Many times, food in dreams represents a covenant being sealed. I've seen people fall ill in the physical world after consuming food in the dream world. Some lost opportunities, others began experiencing unexplained crises. And perhaps the most common and dangerous of all are dreams involving sexual encounters. This is one of the most destructive spiritual attacks. When someone has this type of dream, especially with an unfamiliar face or a shadowy entity, they may be under attack from what we call marine spirits, or incubus and succubus entities. These forces establish spiritual ties to steal energy, blessings, and even block marriages and prosperity. None of this is a coincidence. Everything has a spiritual purpose. Your dreams are not just dreams. They are territories where battles take place. If you are not prepared, you may be losing without even realizing it. The spiritual world operates by principles. What is gained or lost in dreams often manifests in the physical world. Have you ever had a dream where you lost something, money, keys, or even your own voice? Pay attention to those dreams. This could be a sign of spiritual theft. Some people go to sleep full of hope, only to wake up drained, with no will to pray or direction in their lives. This is not a coincidence. The enemy uses dreams to steal, weaken, and divert people's destinies. Have you noticed how some nightmares repeat themselves? People who constantly dream of being chased, falling into abysses, or being trapped in endless mazes. These are not ordinary dreams. They are signs of spiritual oppression. The enemy tries to imprison the mind, keeping a person stuck in cycles of fear and defeat. And when it comes to witchcraft, the influence on dreams is even more intense. I've seen cases where people were repeatedly visited by strange figures in their dreams, only to later discover that someone had been casting spells against them. Deliverance prayers revealed that their battles were being fought in the spiritual realm while they slept. But here's the good news. The enemy only steals from those who are unprotected. If you feel like your dreams are under attack, if you sense something is wrong, there is a way to break this influence. You can recover what was stolen from you. You can close doors that were opened without your consent. You can stop the enemy from operating in your life. There was a time when I believed I had absolute control over the dream world. During the years I practiced spiritual rituals, I knew how to enter and exit people's dreams, manipulate their visions, and plant images that would later manifest in their waking lives. But ironically, I had no control over my own dreams. Every night, something chased me. I saw shadows around me, felt presences I couldn't drive away. Some dreams were so intense that I would wake up exhausted, as if I had spent the night fighting something invisible. The worst part was that many times I knew something had been revealed to me, but the moment I woke up, the memory disappeared. It was only after I gave my life to Christ that I began to understand why this was happening. The enemy does not want you to have spiritual clarity. He does not want you to remember the warnings and revelations that God gives you, but there is one thing he cannot stop: prayer. When I started praying before sleeping, something changed. I asked God to show me what I needed to see, and above all, to help me remember it when I woke up. At first, it felt like breaking through an old barrier, but over time, I realized that the images came back to my mind with great clarity. What was once erased was now becoming clearer and clearer. More than that, the nighttime attacks stopped. That's when I understood that prayer is the key to closing unwanted spiritual doors. For years, without knowing it, I had left these doors wide open. But when I started praying and declaring Christ's authority over my life, those doors began to close. One of the most powerful shields against nighttime attacks is Psalm 91. It's not just a beautiful passage from the Bible. It's a declaration of war against any force that tries to attack us while we sleep. When I started reciting it before bed, the oppression stopped. The spiritual attacks were interrupted, and the enemy lost the access he once had. Dream protection does not happen by chance. It must be activated. If you do not cover your nights in prayer, you are leaving doors open. But today I want to remind you of this truth. You are not powerless in this battle. You can take back control of your dreams, your spiritual peace, and your destiny. By turning to God through prayer and faith, you can break the enemy's hold over your life. It's time to reclaim what has been stolen from you and guard your dreams with the authority God has given you. Remember, dreams are not just fleeting images. They are powerful spiritual messages. And from this moment forward, you have the power to protect them, interpret them, and walk in the truth they reveal. And I want to hear from you. Comment below. I choose to stand and fight in the name of Jesus. Let's fill this comment section with declarations of faith. You're not alone. We're standing together. Remember, we've got new videos every single day to strengthen and uplift your spirit. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of truth. See you tomorrow.